when it comes to the confirmation of Supreme Court justices, there is no doubt that one of the most controversial confirmations in recent times is the confirmation of Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Now, if you weren't aware, which I'm pretty sure I doubt that you weren't aware of this, Justice Brett Kavanaugh was, during his confirmation, he was accused by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford about him sexually assaulting her. The reason why this was very controversial was because of the fact that we're talking about a justice being inaugurated, not inaugurated, but confirmed by Trump, in the sense that Trump is recommending him towards the Senate, and the Senate is going to confirm him or they're going to deny him from being Supreme Court justice. Now, in the other sense, in the political side, this sparked a lot of outrage from the Me Too movement, in the sense that a lot of women were saying Kavanaugh is guilty, even though Ford didn't have any evidence, or even any strong evidence to confirm that Kavanaugh was in fact guilty of these things. Also, motives were questionable, in the sense that why wait until now? How come her friends cannot confirm what happened? How come she can remember all these details, and yet she can remember that it was Kavanaugh? And I'll tell you now, I know people like this. I know people who have actually gone through this type of thing. And I can tell you, a real victim remembers the event to every single detail. That's why I didn't believe Ford when it came to her testimony, because if she was a real victim, she would have remembered every single detail in that event, from the day, the time, even to the second about what happened. If she would have remembered exactly what happened, she wouldn't even hesitate about trying to describe what happened. A real victim doesn't even have to second guess what they're going to say. They'll if they feel comfortable saying it, they will remember every single detail of that event. That's why I didn't believe her. And then what happened? Kavanaugh was confirmed. People were still mad, thinking, Kavanaugh is guilty, stuff like this. Now, recently, Kavanaugh has been accused of another sexual misconduct allegation by a former classmate. And this is going to be talking about the problems with the Me Too movement. Because the Me Too movement, it started with good intentions, right? About people of power abusing it, and then, basically extorting people under them to do, some things that they're not comfortable with. And it was a good thing. However, a lot of people saw it and saying, hey, you know what? I can take advantage of this. I can lie about these things, and I can probably get a lot of attention. Before we even get into the whole thing with Kavanaugh, I'm gonna make a statement right here. I don't believe women. I don't believe men. I believe facts and evidence. And the reason why I think a lot of people tend to falsely accuse others is because they know there will be no repercussions. Because what happens when they get falsely accused? When they falsely accuse someone and turns out it was false, nothing happens to them. What happens is that the person they try to target, the person they accuse, in many cases they're going to get convicted because they go on emotion, right? You don't need evidence. They go on emotion. So what happens? The accused gets convicted of a crime they never committed, and then what happens when it turns out it was false? Nothing. They get a slap on the wrist in many cases, and then they go on with their day, even though the person they just accused has their lives ruined in this case, right? Now, before we go into the article, I'd like to show you a video. I'm not going to be a full video. It's going to be from Fox News, and it's a year-old video. But that way you can see why some people are so encouraged to falsely accuse individuals of sexual assault, or in this case, rape, because they can get something out of this. So hopefully Fox News won't copyright strike me for this. But let's look at a little segment of the video, shall we?
A promising college football player's life dreams shattered as he was falsely accused of rape. His accuser, 19-year-old Nikki Uvino, told police that she went to a party where two football players forced her to have sex in a bathroom. She later admitted that she had sex willingly and was afraid that if she admitted that, another student wouldn't want to date her. Malik St. Hilaire speaks out here exclusively tonight for the first time about the case. But first, Trace Gallagher live in our West Coast newsroom with the backstory here. Hi, Trace.
Hi, Martha. At the time, Nikki Uvino was attending Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut. She claimed the incident happened at an off-campus party, that two Sacred Heart football players pulled her into a bathroom, took turns holding her down, and sexually assaulted her. Uvino claimed she repeatedly told the men she didn't want to be there, that she had friends waiting for her outside, and to please let her go. Both men admitted having sex with her, but said it was consensual. The players were not arrested, but one lost his scholarship, and both said they were pressured to leave school while they awaited disciplinary action. Then Nikki Uvino drastically changed her story, admitting in a sworn statement that she made the whole thing up because, quote, it was the first thing that came to mind, and she didn't want to lose another male student as a friend and potential boyfriend.
Okay, I'm gonna pause the video here. So this is why people are starting to lose faith in the Me Too movement. People like this, people like Nikki Uvino, I think it's Nikki or Mickey, I don't know. But this type of woman right here is probably the prime example as to why people are losing faith in the Me Too movement. As to why whenever a woman or a man comes out with a sexual allegation, they're the reasons why they're afraid to come out. Because they know there's people out there who have lied, who have tried to get away with things even though they're clearly not true, and yet they ruin it for everyone else. This woman right here did a complete disservice to a lot of women and men out there who have experienced sexual assault. And this is why the Me Too movement is starting to become really irrelevant now. People are starting to question it. Because nowadays, people have been falsely accusing others. And they've gotten away with it in many cases. Now, in this case, like I'm not going to show you the video, but essentially what happened is that this woman was sentenced for a year for false claims and all that stuff, right? But it makes me wonder, what would have happened if this was never discovered, right? They convicted the football player. How many years would he have probably gone in jail? 10, 20 years maybe, right? One of them even lost their scholarship. Not to mention, they were facing pressure of leaving the school. Their entire lives ruined over a false allegation. That's why a lot of people are not believing these people anymore. That's why the Me Too movement is starting to become a questionable movement, because people are starting to see this movement, try to take advantage of it, and then what happens? They end up getting a lot of good things while the person they falsely accused ends up getting their lives destroyed. Now, before I go into the article, I'm going to tell you a personal story. I personally have been Me Too'd. It happened during my work, my first job at McDonald's. There was this woman. Now, I would say woman, but she didn't even act like a woman. She acted more like a child, and she was older than me. But I'm not going to mention her name, but we're going to call her Danielle. Okay, Danielle. Not a real name, but again, I'm not going to mention her name because of legal matters, stuff like that. But we're going to call her Danielle. Sorry. So what happens was that Danielle, she had a tendency to disobey authority. Even though she wasn't a manager, she had the tendency to do whatever the hell she wants, right? And you're not supposed to do that, because in many cases, a lot of her actions were violating company policies. So one day we were really slow. I'm talking about straight up dead where I was. And it was rare because we're never really usually dead in the afternoon. So we were going to have many cars, so I was telling everyone, hey guys, since we're not getting any customers, let's start cleaning. We had a person in the register in front. I told him, hey, you might clean the lobby? He's like, sure. So this person goes clean the lobby. People in the kitchen, I had 3 people in the kitchen. Say, hey, you think you guys can take care of this? One of you guys clean the grill. The other one cleans the counter and under the counter, make sure that there isn't any trash in there. And then go ahead and you just clean the fry hopper and then mop as well, sweep and mop. And then the person in the back and drive to tell them, you think you just clean the trays, clean the counters, and then clean the windows as well? That way, because there's a lot of fingerprints on there. I was like, okay. And then I go to Danielle. And then I tell her, hey Danielle, okay, so we don't have any customers, so right now you think you can just clean the cup holders, because we have a little machine that makes drinks by itself, and usually a lot of the syrup, it gets on the cups and it kind of sticks to the machine and it gets it jammed. So I tell her, okay, for right now just put it on manual, and then clean the cups and clean the belt as well, and remove all the built up sugar on there, right, so it doesn't get stuck. Danielle doesn't respond, doesn't do anything, she just shrugged it off and does whatever she wants. She goes to the bathroom, right? So I was like, okay, maybe she didn't hear me, even though I just talked to her face to face. She comes back and I told her, hey Danielle, I don't know if you heard me before. I apologize if I wasn't clear, but go ahead and just clean the ABS machine. Just make sure you get rid of all the built up sugar on the cup holders and the belt. That way it doesn't get stuck. And also, can you also clean the windows too? Also, there's a lot of fingerprints on there. Said okay, and then she proceeds to leave her station and then does nothing at all. Okay, she comes back again, and then I got frustrated at that point. And then when she was there just standing there, she went back to the station standing there. The person who was on front counter tells me, just so you know, Carlos, I heard you and I was in the lobby. So she's clearly ignoring you. And then she just goes back to cleaning the front counter, stuff like that. And then the other guy in the kitchen, one of the managers in the kitchen, tells me like, yeah, I think she's ignoring you, dude, because I hear you loud and clear. I don't think it's her not hearing you, because she's looking at you when you're talking to her, but she's not. So I'm thinking, okay, she's probably just ignoring me. So at that point, I get frustrated. So like, Danielle, Listen, I don't know if you heard me the last 2 times, and then this is where she cuts me. I was like, okay, well, stop raping me. Stop raping me. She just starts making huge commotion. And then everyone, from the person in the front counter, people in the kitchen, and then the person in the drive-thru, they just look, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell is your problem? So it's like, well, he's raping me. Carlos is raping me. And I look at it, I was like, Danielle, listen. There's a camera right where you're standing, right on top of you, which records everything. Not to mention there's a camera by the front counter. There's cameras in the kitchen, which capture your angle, right? There's cameras everywhere around you. Not to mention there's a total of 3 people in the kitchen, 1 person in front counter, a total of 4 witnesses who can literally vouch for me and say that what you're saying is a lie. You want to go on with this? Go ahead. I'm going to let the general manager know who's in the back. He was in the back. I'm going to let the general manager know that you're falsely accusing me of something that's very serious. So if you want to go on with that, by all means be my guest. But I'm not going to let you falsely accuse me of something because you do not want to work. This is what he says. Well, fine, go tell him. And I will stand by this. You are raping me, Carlos. So I was like, okay. You know what? I go back to the office and I told my general manager, hey, Danielle's falsely accusing me of this. You can ask the person in the back and drive-thru, the people in the kitchen, the 3 people in the kitchen, and the person in the front. They will literally tell you everything that she's accusing me of is a lie. And if you want to, you can even talk to them one by one, and they will repeat to you the same thing I told Danielle, the instructions as well, and they will tell you that she's clearly lying. You can also look at the cameras as well, because I was that confident that that there was all a lie. What I was worried about though was not because that I would clearly be innocent. But nowadays, the court of public opinion, they don't ask for your input. I was worried that Danielle was going to go on Twitter, Facebook, and say, Carlos Ruiz so-and-so raped me at work, yada, 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 Me Too movement, yada, 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 right? That's what I was worried about. Because I know that if she went and posted this on social media, that my life is ruined. My life is ruined because she knows where I work. She can take a picture of me and then post it on social media. And I knew that if she ever did that, my life would be ruined. That's what I was concerned about. The legal matters, I would definitely win. If she wanted to go and take this to court, I would definitely win. But that's what I was worried about. It's not a matter of legality anymore. You can win in court, but the court of public opinion stands above all apparently when it comes to the left. So that's what I was worried about. The general manager talked to her. And then, obviously, after he talked to everyone, right, everyone there, and honestly, I didn't feel comfortable working with her at that point. I didn't. I was like, you know what, no, I'm done. I refuse to work with her in the same shifts because I do not want to deal with this anymore. So you kind of change your shifts up, you cut her hours, stuff like that. But, again, that kind of shows you the severity of the Me Too movement, how women are, not to mention, sometimes even men, are throwing these false accusations out in order to get ahead. That's what I was worried about. And again, I've been Me Too'd, falsely accused of rape, over because they do not want to work. So she never got fired. It was verified that she was lying, but there was no consequence. She was fired over something else, apparently because she wasn't showing up to work. But that's what pissed me off, is the fact that this woman is able to falsely accuse me of something severe, risking my job, my career, my profession, my life, over a false allegation. And yet, she gets a slap on the wrist. That's ridiculous. That's outrageous. That's why people are starting to question the Me Too movement. That's why when Kavanaugh is constantly accused of sexual assault, people are questioning it. I'm questioning it because I don't believe men. I don't believe women. I believe facts and evidence. So now that I've ranted long enough, let's go on with the article. So the title reads, Kavanaugh accused of more unwanted sexual contact by former classmate. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was hit with another accusation of unwanted sexual contact by a male classmate who said he witnessed Kavanaugh expose himself and press his genitals against a woman without her consent. Okay, well, where was this male classmate when they were in the confirmation process? What was that? Okay, the New York Times reported Saturday that the latest allegation, which has until now not been public, was reported to the FBI during Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation process last year, but was not investigated by the FBI. In the Times report, 2 FBI officials told the newspaper that a Yale classmate of Kavanaugh's D.C.-based nonprofit owner Max Stier said that he had witnessed Kavanaugh expose himself at a party before other students and push Kavanaugh's genitals into the hand of a female student, apparently without her consent. The Hill has reached out to the Supreme Court for comment. Stier, or Steyer, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm going to go with Stier. Stier did not speak publicly about the story, according to the Times, but two U.S. officials reportedly corroborated with his account to the FBI with the newspaper. The allegation is the latest to be made public in the list of accusations of unwanted sexual contact and sexual assault that Kavanaugh has faced since he was first nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump. Despite tumultuous, I think I pronounce it, despite the tumultuous or something like that confirmation process culminating in an emotional testimony from both Kavanaugh and one of his accusers, Christine Blasey Ford, he was eventually confirmed to the court in a narrow Senate vote. Kavanaugh has denied all the allegations and that he has faced, calling him politically motivated, and declined to answer questions about Steele's allegations to the Times on Saturday. Like I said, I don't believe women, I don't believe men, I believe facts and evidence. If this is true, bring on the evidence. Take it to court. I want to see that. Don't rely on the court of public opinion. Because in the end of the day, the court of public opinion, they're going to side with you. Because the left, in many cases, they run on emotion. They judge based on emotion. And that's why the left is so focused on making all these, green policies. Oh, forget plastic straws. We'll do paper straws. And I remember Dan Crenshaw said something like this. I think that politicians should make policies that actually do good, not just feel good. And that's what the left does. They make policies that feel good, but they don't actually do good. For example, hybrid cars. I own a hybrid car, not because I want to save the environment, but because I'm cheap on gas. I know that the battery in the Prius is going to do a lot more damage than an actual car, and guess what? I don't care. I don't care about the environment because for me, I'm going to die eventually. Either I'm going to die in a car accident, or I'm going to die by disease, or if climate change kills me, then I'll be like, okay, come kill me. Because death is a natural part of life. That's how I view my life. Death, to me, is something that's natural. We're all going to die at one point. We just don't know how. And the reason why I brought up my own personal story about the backlash was because this article from Forbes from a couple of days ago, I'm talking about, I think, like over a week ago, it kind of talks about how the Me Too movement has had a lot of backlash, a lot of unintended consequences that negatively affect women. For example, in the second paragraph, the new study found a shocking 21% of men and 12% of women report they are personally more reluctant to hire women for jobs that require close interpersonal interactions with men, like business travel. And I wouldn't blame them. Because nowadays all it takes is just one accusation. It can be false, it can be true, but even with a simple accusation, the one who is accused loses their entire livelihood before they even make it to the court. Look at Vic Mignogna. The guy lost his job, his career, and they're barely on the trial. This happened straight around January, I think what happened. The cases were coming out around January by the time Dragon Ball Super Broly came out. Well, I mean in U.S. theaters, of course. But you see what I mean? Just a simple accusation can lead to the destruction of a person's career, even if the accusation is false. And that's why when it comes to working with women, I'm reluctant to, even with my superiors. There's times where I'm called into the office with my general manager, and she's a woman, of course, and she tells me, "Oh, you can go ahead and close the door." And I tell her, I prefer to keep the door open because I'm not comfortable with you and me together in the office. I'm not that I don't trust you, but I honestly prefer that we talk in the office, and if not, we can talk outside. When obviously, because the crew are never outside, they're usually inside. I told her, if you do not want to talk in here without the door open, then I prefer talking outside. I will not talk to anyone unless there's another witness here behind closed doors. I do not want that. So she understood. We talk outside and we talk about what's going on, about how I'm going to be promoted to manager, what's the process, stuff like that. But that's the thing. After being falsely accused of rape at my old job, I do not feel comfortable working with women. And you can say, well, Carlos, you're just being paranoid. But I would expect you to understand the circumstances of this. I wasn't worried that I was going to lose the legal battle in the sense of a court case. I had enough evidence. Cameras everywhere. Cameras facing to the judge's direction. I'm talking about 4 cameras. 1 on top, 1 on front counter, and 2 in the kitchen. There was enough evidence to prove that I clearly did not make any sexual move or any sexual gesture towards this woman. So I knew I would win the court case if it went to it. Not to mention I have 4 witnesses who clearly saw what happened. They clearly knew she was lying. So I wouldn't have been worried about that. What I was worried about was social media. Because, again, you don't need evidence in social media. You can just say so-and-so sexually assaulted me, and guess what happens? Your life is ruined. That's what I was worried about. So, with Kavanaugh, I don't know. If the person's telling the truth, by all means, bring it to court. Bring me the evidence. Show me the evidence. Not just emotion. Not just sentimentality. Because that's not going to work. That doesn't cut it in a court of law. That doesn't happen. You need hard evidence to prove that Kavanaugh did what he's being accused of. Blasey Ford did a terrible job at it. Maybe she had evidence, but she was just very terrible at presenting it. I don't know. Maybe she was just making it up. But if Kavanaugh is just being falsely attacked by the left because they just don't want him there, then it kind of shows you the code of the left. They talk about being tolerant and righteous, and yet they use so many so many dirty tactics to get people they don't like out of office and out of their jobs. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this accusation is actually real? Do you believe that the Me Too movement started with good intentions and has now become more controversial in the sense that people are starting to like in the sense that they're starting to lose their credibility over the history of false accusations, like mine, for example, like in the case of this college student falsely accused by a woman because she didn't want her friend and potential boyfriend to think, oh, she sleeps around with other men. You know what I mean? Or do you think that the Me Too movement should still continue to be believed, right? That we should continue to, to rally behind the Me Too movement and believe all the victims, all the accusers, without any sense of evidence? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss an upload. And at the same time I said in every video, share the video if you think this video is worthy of sharing, because YouTube has decided to direct independent political commentary, and I'm pretty sure they're going to direct this one heavily because I'm criticizing the Me Too movement, and I'm also, in some degree, I'm also defending Kavanaugh over the lack of presentable evidence, meaning this person does not have any concrete evidence to prove that Kavanaugh is guilty. So therefore, until that evidence is shown, until that evidence is proven, and not to mention concrete, Kavanaugh is innocent under the eyes of the law. In the case of public opinion, he's obviously going to be guilty. Public opinion, the court of public opinion, they're always going to be guilty. But in the court of law, Kavanaugh is innocent, and until there's actual evidence to prove that Kavanaugh did what he's being accused of, he is still innocent under the law. Like I said, like the video if you did like it, subscribe, share the video if you think it's worthy of sharing, and I'll see you guys in the next segment in regards to Ted Cruz and what he believes the state of the Democratic Party is right now ever since Trump got elected. I hope you guys can stick around for that, and if you can stick around, I'll see you guys in a bit, but if you cannot, hopefully you guys will be able to see the next segment on your own time. I'll see you guys in a little bit.